Take two. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Last Epoch dev stream. As always, I am now your host, Mike. How's it going, everybody? How we doing? How we feeling? Something's going on, and I'm trying to get into my empowered monos. And I think I may have created a bug with this character. And we may switch to a different one. We might do that just in case. And thank you very much. Welcome. Ooh, Dahariel, 17 months in a row. Hooey! Thank you very much. Glad to have you here. Starting the stream off strong. And yeah, I just hadn't turned on the empowered, it looks like. Yeah. We should be able to come back down here now. Because we want to finish up some of these ones that we don't have anything on yet at all. Let's just jump right back to here. Yeah, I changed shirts. Where's my empowered? What's going on? What did I do wrong? I thought I enabled it. I did muck about with this character, so there's a good chance that I caused problems. Well, we need empowered on this character because it's too good. So we have a couple options. I can switch to another character that does have empowered, or I can go do other fun stuff. Let's hop to here and see what we've got. Welcome, everybody. Bit of a scramble start today, but we're gonna do just fine. For anyone who is here, it's your first time. As always, we stream for charity, and our charity this month. We've got one more day of this one after this one. Today, it's Good Sports. They help kids play sports, which is important. We're gonna do a temple sanctum. We're just gonna do a quick julra kill, and yeah. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. Put an Last Epoch game in front of them, and I'll get to it as soon as possible. Start off here. Vecognito. Are there going to be more combat visual improvements, aka combat feel, than what we've I think what we've seen in multiplayer last stream? Yeah, we're gonna try the full one. I don't think we're gonna be able to do it, but we're gonna try it. How are cold attacks and death animations gonna look? Can you show or at least try to describe? Because now they really don't look good. No offense. I really love this game, and we're planning to make an update Monolith next patch. There's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of stuff in that question too. Most of the version that we saw on streams is basically what it is. What the close to most up-to-date version is. It's a little bit behind, but not much. So there's always updates and changes happening, and so it's unless it's the instant, even every single time a build gets made, it's out of date because there's always stuff that's in the pipe still. So there's a little bit more, but it was pretty up to date. It's pretty up to date. I don't have distinct knowledge of exactly how cold skills are being handled specifically, so I can't really tell you anything there. As for, what was the other part of that question? Monolith? Well, okay, death animations look great. I don't know how to describe it's so broad, I don't know how to describe it, sorry. They're awesome. They look realistic. There's a mix of fixed animations and ragdoll, depending on the situation it's in. Yeah. There's no major updates to the Monolith plan next patch, no. It's still very much a work in progress, but yeah, nothing major is planned for it, I don't think. On the topic, on that empowered, let's go to the next question here. On the empowered topic, any chance to make it a bit more intuitive? I definitely missed that the first time Monolith player of the first playthrough. Yeah, there is a quest beacon for it, But yeah, I've definitely seen a few people miss that, so I mean, it's possible. It's a good thing to put as a suggestion on like a feedback thread. What are we doing here? Come on. Let me through. Let me through. Ooh. The reason there's a problem with mine on this character right now is, so I set up a lot of things with DevTools to try and make streams more varied and run smoother, because I don't have a ton of time to set these characters up. And, you know, it's ironic, it's like the third time I played this one. But I think when I first set it up, I made a mistake. And we try and use as little of those tools as possible when we're actually properly testing things, because it doesn't generate a real environment. Sometimes I've helped Rhymer. Yes. You wanna make me another build? Huh? Huh? Usually Rhymer does it for me. How's the audio balance for you guys? The music seems a little loud to me, but I don't know.
What's this? How are they manipulating time? Could it be?
What do you mean I don't have fresh 70, 80s for each Friday QA session? Yeah, I feel like most of you prefer that I just work on the game instead of building those for real. I'm interested. I should take a poll as to, like, what people want to see next. If there's any characters people are itching to see how it plays, get talking points on, that sort of stuff. What haven't I played much lately? I haven't played much. I feel like I haven't played much Sentinel or not Sentinel. Playing Sentinel right now. I feel like I haven't played much Primalist lately. Should get on that. Been playing a ton of Rogue online. Really enjoying that. Blasting Agent build is so much fun. I don't know what it is like about it, but I'm just really enjoying it. How many uniques are coming next patch? I don't know. Do not need to be precise. Lol. I can't because I don't know. And one more thing, there is a ragdoll effect on certain enemies that they still shake on the floor when they're dead. Are you planning to change that? I mean, I know it's a kind of a thing people enjoy when there's mistakes like that, especially ones that get left in the game for a long time, and then they become sort of like a good bad thing. I don't know how to describe it well. We're trying to get rid of that so that it is a consistent experience and doesn't have obvious bugs on that. So hopefully that'll be completely gone coming up here. As far as number of uniques, like they get added late in the cycle. Uniques are one of the last things to get added. So I can tell you the number of uniques that we have now, and will be extremely misleading for indication on how many will be added when we actually get around to working on uniques. Because right now, basically nothing's been done to them. I shouldn't say nothing. Very little's been done to them compared to how many we'll probably want to add for the patch when we're actually looking to release it. We need to see Gregory. Yeah, we've got tons of job offers for Gregory. Lots of people were very interested in expanding his CV and a resume, and yeah, I'm sure he'll land on his feet once his current job disappears. Character in the game, by the way, just in case that's not clear. Alright. Hello. What is happening here? I'm playing a game. We're going to try T4 Julra, see how it goes.
Escape is impossible.
Oh, that hurts. Try and line both these up. Do we line all three of them up? We didn't. We missed. We missed. It's okay. Woo! She's got some deeps.
Escape is impossible.
Let's go stand in her trail. She hits like a truck. Oh my goodness me.
Escape is impossible.
She's got a lot of damage. There's no shortage of damage output here. Oh, got greedy. Got greedy. Oh, that's okay. I didn't really have anything lined up to give her anyways, so not a big deal. Okay, I just want to see if this activated for empowered. 'Cause it should have. Yeah, because it keeps doing this, there's a problem. Yeah. Is there not a problem? And am I just like proving the point of someone's comment earlier? Even more so? Yep. It has nothing to do with what I did. I'm just an idiot. Haha. I'll take it. That's good news. So yes, whoever that was earlier, scroll up and find your name. LZFX, I completely agree with you. Alright, have you guys considered any endgame alternate advancement point systems that are generic across all classes, like EQ, AA, and D3 Paragon points? Yeah, we definitely have considered it for sure. There's a lot of good stuff in a system like that, and I'd love to get something in. There's no word exactly on a timeline of something like that, what it will look like, any sort of details or anything. But I think that something like that is important. And the important part about it, I think, one of the really key things is that it's not tied to the leveling system. So it has some other start point, start trigger, and not having it be this starts when you hit level 100. That's definitely something that we want to avoid. Yeah. Come on. So yeah, I think we'll see something like that eventually. What that is exactly, that's a really solid helmet. Just a really the one I'm wearing is probably better, I think. Yeah, because I need that cooldown reduction on the helmet at this point. That's a nice find, just like really nice stats and good tiers. Alright. On to the next one. Maybe we'll try and like farm some corruption up a little bit. RE the empowered bug. Temporary idiocy versus game breaking bug. I think this is an okay thing for a Friday. Yeah. Yeah. If you have any questions, if this is your first time here, please put an @Last Epoch game in the question, and I'll be sure to answer it. Just helps me pick out the stuff where people are just chatting with each other and looking to get a question answered by me on stream. I see one here. Hi, can I play something like an assassin in this game? Yeah, we have one of our classes is the rogue, and one of the mastery classes for the rogue is the blade dancer, which gets into that assassin-y type feeling. We don't have a stealth mechanic, which is quite often I think a requirement for a lot of people for an assassin type character. But it just didn't fit great for us, so we don't have an actual stealth mechanic. We have a smoke bomb ability that causes things to miss you, and there's a lot of things that try and emulate a invisibility style system, whereby you're like giving aggro to something else, and then kind of disappearing a little bit, but you're not actually going invisible. I was not taking it as inflammatory. Outlet effects. I am perfectly happy to make mistakes like that. And I do them a lot. Yeah, some of those weird quirks about like the way that monoliths unlock and things like that for empowered. It's a little bit of it was issues we had with the tech, and then tried to fix it with things that ended up being less than intuitive. It's funny, the shrines in multiplayer right now, the shrines don't reach super far. So you kind of got to be kind of close to both get the shrine if there's two of you playing. And Carver and I have been playing a bunch, and I'm terrible about it, about popping shrines too early. Sorry, Carve. My bad. Usually he's ahead of me though, so he waits for me. Any ETA multiplayer? Nope. We are still in the when it's ready category. We really like putting a number on it puts pressure on us for releasing at that time, and there then becomes this struggle of like, okay, do we push for that number or do we delay it? And I know it's frustrating that there's no details on when it's going to happen yet, but really it's going to happen just as soon as possible, and we won't really know that it's ready until it's ready, Stand down or die. Haha. Any information you can share on cycles? Not really. We're still very much in discussion on how they're going to be presented, how they're going to function, all those sorts of things. It's all very much in development still. So anything I say in details wise is so unbelievably subject to change that it's it's just like what's the point, right? Hey Mike, I'm pretty sure this was asked in the past, but how do you feel about channeling abilities, and have you guys talked about how they could be more viable? Yeah, I mean, so channeling abilities are a really tricky thing to do because standing still is a dangerous prospect in general in an RPG. Like you almost never want to be standing still for an extended period of time. And so the channeling abilities that let you also move, Warpath, Cyclone, Whirlwind, whatever you want to call it, is inherently has a pretty big leg up on the competition when it comes to channeling abilities in general. We've definitely we have buffed channeling abilities quite a few times recently, I think. but it's really hard to put a price on the inability to move. And then there's another problem with the term viability. Like, define viability. Define a viable ability. That's a nice large idol. So I just to make them better, it's possible. There's no details on if we're going to be like, okay, let's make this one specifically better or anything like that. Balancing individual skills is also something that comes later on in the development cycle as well. So we gotta be getting a little further on. I think just multiplayer in general does make them a little bit better because you do have people that are able to tank the front line for you. So I think there'll probably be a bit of a gap where we'll like have multiplayer available and let people try them out a little bit more and see if it helps. You know, they might suddenly become, oh my gosh, they're the best thing since sliced bread, just because multiplayer is a thing. You know, that could happen. I don't think it will, but it could. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Where are you going? Running away from me, are you? I know we're running the wrong way, but catch some stuff on the way. A little sightseeing. All right. Any plans on regarding macOS support, or your hands tied until Apple does something about it? We used to have macOS support. We did remove it a while ago. We don't really have any concrete plans to expand back out to macOS support at this point. It's something we might look at in the future. There are ways to play still on a Mac computer as is. And I know there's a lot of people in the community that do have information on how to do that. So if you really want to play and you have a Mac and you're struggling to do so, it is possible. I'm not sure of the details and the steps to do so, unfortunately, because I don't have a Mac. But yeah, it's not impossible. It's not something we're getting another platform up and running before launch is not something we're interested in doing. Extra platforms are so much work, and it's multiplicative work too. It's not it's not like, oh, it's one more. No, it's all the work we have to do for all the other platforms multiplied by one more. So it's a lot of extra work to do, and yeah, we're not really prepared to add an extra platform on right now. Come on. Yeah, this load screen right now doesn't exist in multiplayer. And I mean specifically between an Echo and Echo of a World. That load screen specifically. Does your stash connect to different starting characters? Yes, if they're in the same league, like environment. So all softcore character stashes are connected. All hardcore character stashes are connected. The exception being solo characters. So solo characters have their own stash. But yeah. The first place to access that stash with a new character is the third zone? Second zone? I don't know what it is right now in live. It's either the second or third zone. Alright. Do you guys have any more insight onto how you're going to handle game trunches? Like SSF versus trade. I feel like that's a word, I just don't know. How is stashing going to work per account, per character? I'm not trying to understand the question. How are you going to handle SSF versus trade? Like, the characters in SSF won't be able to trade, and the characters in the normal environment will have access to the... Like, there will be some way to have items transition between characters, and in SSF there won't be ways for items to transfer between characters. Like, I think that's it? How is stashing going to work per account, per character? So it's like per account. Stashes are per account. But like an SSF character, we're still. I don't remember the details of what it is. Reimer, if you can look it up, it'd be great. If you have time. Well, because we actually just figured this out, I think. On if solo characters were going to share a stash with other solo characters. And just not have access to trade at all. Or if they were going to stay as a per character thing. The solo characters having a shared stash or not, I don't know the answer to right now. I can't remember. How is scaling of the team going? Do you plan on any more people? Yeah, it's going great. We're bringing new people on pretty frequently, and I mean, not every day, but you know, there's people coming on. I see new people popping in, having a great time. And yeah, we are adding more people. There's still job postings up on our website. If you're think you're qualified for any of those, please apply, and we'll review it and all that jazz, and how it works out. How do you feel about the current selection of movement skills? Pretty great. It feels pretty much guaranteed that most players will use one skill slot for a movement ability, and with some classes that restricts you to one skill. A bit of the illusion of choice problem. Yeah, I mean, so we try and have multiple movement skills on every class. There are still quite a few missing skills on Rogue, which is that only has one movement skill class. I think that there are also game modes that lend themselves to needing a movement skill less than others. So like, and sometimes those are incidental movement skills too. So we try and build ways to make certain skills into movement skills. Like, for example, there is in Javelin, you can here it is. Jump to the flag. This basically, if you ever play League of Legends and play Jarvan, this turns Javelin into Jarvan's flag and drag. And so we try and build extra movement skills into as secondary effects of other abilities where we can, to help alleviate that problem. Because yeah, we definitely see it too. Any other ones here that have weird ones? Smite has Descend. Where is it? Descend. It was over on the left. It's that one teleports you with Smite. So we've got Smite, Javelin, or Javelin's right here. Lunge, Shield Rush. There's 4 on Sentinel. Are there any other weird ones on Sentinel? I mean, really, technically, Warpath and Void Cleaver movement skills, but I'm not going to claim that. I think that's it, yeah. But there's 4 there. And yeah, like, Rogue being the extreme other example there, with only one really. There's a couple others, but I don't really count. There's still a lot of skills missing on Rogue. This is the best way I can. If you multiply by 1, it's the same amount. Okay, so what I meant was there's a pool of things, and we have another pool of things, and those two things multiply together to cause what we have to do. If we increase the number of one of those pools by 1, it multiplies the amount of things we have to do by the other pool. That's what it means. Alright, next question. When multiplayer drops, will characters be able to be played across both Linux and Windows? Yeah, there's I don't see why not. I could be wrong about that, but as far as I'm aware, it's the same client, it's the same. There shouldn't be anything that causes a problem with that. I'm pretty sure it's fine. Yeah. I'm gonna say yes, asterisk. I could be wrong, and it could change. Also, with respect to multiplayer, how are you planning on handling stability sharing? Please define. Oh, stability in the timelines. So you'll kind of have your own. Everyone will have their own version of the timeline. And it will like finish you'll only get credit for someone else's timeline. This is another thing that could change, and it's subject to feedback and those sorts of things, but right now you get credit for the timeline when it completes, not when every single echo's done. So it's not, you're not sharing the timeline, it's one person's timeline. Yeah. Master Sword, thank you very much. 17 months in a row. Wow. Both of you, Dario, Master Sword, 17 months. Looking good, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for having fun. I appreciate it. All right. Where are we going next? Hello, Total Try that again. Hello, Total Annihilation. You have one question. Will there be Polish? Oh, like So I thought you were like asking if there's gonna be Polish people in that. No, will there be a language translation, a localization for the Polish language? We don't have these exact languages that we're planning on localizing to just yet. We'll start with the probably a smaller selection than our final goal and expand from there. I don't know what they're gonna be. I would be, as just like someone who has very little knowledge of popularity of different languages around the world, I would suggest it's probably not in the top few percentage of people that plays this game or wants to play this game and needs localization for it. So chances of that one being in the first batch, I'd say, is not extremely high, but this is from a personal perspective of not knowing much about the topic. And we will look to expand that as time goes on, as we can get more in. More and more and more and more and more. Will there be an offline mode as well later on, like in Diablo 2? Yes. It'll be basically the same, because it's before you log in. Yeah, it's basically the same as D2's. Yeah. There might be like Steam might impose some weird rules on like, I don't know if Steam has some weird rule like, it's been like 2 months since you logged into Steam, can you still play your games? I don't know if there's some weird rule that Steam does like that. But I know Steam has like a play your games offline mode. How far away is the Falconer? It will not be here until 1.0. How does work on the Falconer? It hasn't started yet. Are you planning to add any sort of dismemberment as death animations and shattering effects for frozen monsters? The shattering of frozen monsters is so cool. And my goodness, is it hard to do because it multiplies, once again, it multiplies the number of death animations. And you can't really do it procedurally very well. So that one, at least not initially, no. I'd say there might be some like enemies that are made of ice that will shatter as part of their animation, but freezing an enemy and then killing it, having that normal like taking the spider, freezing it, shattering it, having it break up into pieces and things like that, not on the list right now. Would be cool, would love to do it one day, but not in the feature scope for 1.0. All right. I'm gonna end up being to be known as the upgrade supporter pack guy. Asked about this so many times. Please do something about it. I cannot do anything about it myself. So you're asking the wrong person. But we are working on it. It is not so it's not sitting in some like, well, we tried, failed, too bad, put on the back burner. No, it's something we're actively trying to solve. We just don't have a solution for it right now. Alright. Am I supposed to be able to finish mono boss after dead because of minions? No, it's a known bug. With that being said, will there be a standalone client? I don't know. I have no idea what the status of that is going forward. Yeah, there is a standalone client. It's we've had it since the beginning. It's terrible. I am the one who does most of the maintenance on it and really regret ever suggesting we make one. Was a terrible mistake on my part. I thought it was a great idea. Oh boy, was I wrong. It's worse than Steam in every single way. And takes up a ton of our time and costs us so much money. It's just bad in every way. I don't want to come across as harsh, but realistically, is the Linux client an equal priority with Windows, or is Windows the priority? So we do hold the Linux client as a primary game client, and we expect the same quality standards out of it that we do out of Windows. We have almost no one on the team that uses the Linux client, so it gets a lot less organic testing. And we have a lot, the percentage of our player population that uses it is tiny compared to our Windows population, so it gets a lot less community testing as well. So I think that there's likely a lot of unknown bugs that are just kind of hiding out in our Linux client still that we just don't know about. But we don't, they don't get, like when we do have bugs for either one or the other, they don't get prioritized less or more based on which one they're for. If they affect everyone, they get prioritized more than if they affect only Windows or only Linux. But if it's a bug that just affects the entire game population, it does go up above the ones that are specific to either. Most of the time. Like, if they're the same severity. So if two bugs are the exact same severity and one of them affects everyone and one of them affects some subset of the population, the one that affects everyone will likely get taken a look at first. Severity plays a big role in that. Severity is much more important. Like a bug that stopped anyone from playing would be way more important than one that just, like, I don't know, made it hiccup every once in a while. Any chance of adding sockets before 1.0? Yeah, yes. But I'm treating that question like a programmer. Hi, big fan of Last Epoch here. Could you please explain sextant blocking? Thanks, much appreciated. Am I gonna have to like go find a like detailed explanation of exactly how sextant blocking works before this question goes away? Because I do not know all the little tiny intricacies and details of it. But just I think it's funny. So if you can block anything with anything really if you try hard enough. So like you got like, there's a sword coming in, and if you have like a sextant, maybe it's made of like mithril. You can like just hold in the exact right spot. You have to be very precise with sextant blocking. One little slip up, and it'll cut right through you no matter what. Anyways, it's a lot harder to block larger blunt instruments with the sextant, like a large hammer. Or a spear, like a piercing motion. That's very difficult to block with a sextant, but it is possible, especially if you get a magic one. All right, I kind of lost my place. I think this is the next one. I'm a Diablo Immortal content creator. Cool, and I know myself and a few others in our Aftershock United team wanted to check out Last Epoch. Do you guys plan to release multiplayer and trade soon? So multiplayer is coming with our next major patch, and the form of item transference between players, whatever that looks like, will be with that initial drop. We don't have any timelines on when that will be specifics, just because it's very much a when it's ready thing. We're currently in closed testing for for our multiplayer systems, and we have a group of CTs, community testers, which is an open application process that has an almost 100% acceptance rate at this point, I think, and it just takes a while to get in. So if you have submitted to that and you're not in yet, I apologize. We're working on it. We're working on making the process faster too, because we got way more applications than we thought we'd have. Apparently, there's a lot of people that are interested in it. But just if you do get into that, a note in general, it is still like a not finished product yet, and there is a very long list of known bugs that I strongly recommend reading first before you start reporting bugs. Because I still see most of the reports I see are still on that list. Yeah. So we're still working on it. No details yet. How do the devs feel about block effectiveness currently going to 0.9? Do you think we will see any changes to block effectiveness before 1.0? Yeah, I think block is one of those topics that gets a lot of touches. Do I think it needs a major overhaul? No. Do I think it could use with improvements? Oh yeah, pretty well everything could. We haven't made any major changes to it since the live version. I'll say that. Thanks, much appreciated. Now, I will not die immediately if I have to choose Sextant as my shield. I was wondering if you could achieve the effect of shattering a frozen enemy by encasing them in a uniform, just size-scaled ice block, and then having a single shattering animation for that ice block. Yeah, that could work. Yeah, that could probably work. I think part of the problem with yeah. I'd be so like the frozen effect being a big ice block on a large group of enemies, I think would look not fantastic. Would be the biggest issue I can see with that. Because while it could look pretty good on a single enemy that you're fighting, having it look really great on a large scale, I think would be really tough. Which is almost always the challenge. Please give us more maces. Maybe some cool, unique lightning mace for Shaman. We'll probably add in lots more stuff for every class type. So sure. But if you have specific suggestions or requests, please head on over to our forums or Discord and leave them in the appropriate channels. Because I unfortunately don't take notes while I'm doing this. So we get a lot of good ideas on stream. I just I've got so many other things that I'm focusing on that I don't end up writing any of it down. And sometimes they get lost in the shuffle because of that. But putting them on the forums is great because then we have a written copy of it. Ooh. If they release multiplayer footage, do they go to prison? No. I don't know what the details of our specific NDA is, but frequent I don't want to say like repercussions, frequent frequent consequences of breaking an NDA are being removed from whatever program the NDA is related to. I assume ours is pretty similar, probably. Okay. Will characters made as part of the closed community tests still be available and playable in multiplayer when multiplayer is released publicly? No. Those characters are on the equivalent of a PTR that you'd see in most other games, where anything that's done on that on those other servers in that other environment is restricted to that other environment. Finish the map. There's a little sliver of blue in the corner there, and I had to explore it all. That's all that was. And yeah, so people that are in the community tester program will not have level 100 characters when multiplayer is released. They will have to start at level 1 just like everyone else. So there's the only advantage people that are in the community tester program have going into 0.9 release, as far as racing and everything like that, is specifically considered to be a knowledge advantage. So they'll have more experience with the game and things like that. That's it. Sorry, another Last Epoch question. Why is that? Sorry, it's great. Why is your local time at 1:45, but my local time is at 10:45? We live in different parts of the world. Yeah. Where I live, this is what time it is now. That's why when I start the stream, I say good afternoon, because it's afternoon where I live. Woohoo! Level 93! Ding, 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 ding. What are we putting points into? I think we're putting points in over here. I really want to get up here, I think. Is this where I'm going up here? Was that a different character I was working on? We're just going to keep putting points in this. Mike knows what build he's playing.
Stand down or die. Yeah.
All right, next question. So, sorry if Tyrion the Third. I don't know if that was a serious question or not. If it was, please ask it again, and I'll try and figure out what you mean. But I'll give you kind of a joke answer because I thought it was a joke question. Any plans for Thorns to be further supported by items as a primary damage? I like doing that kind of build where I can. I mean, not specifically, but not specifically not either. There's, I haven't seen any like, okay, here's a unique to make this better as a primary damage source or anything like that. It's a tricky thing to do. Building defense as offense is always tricky, but it's definitely a mechanic that we're lacking at the moment still, as far as a mechanic's the wrong word, a build archetype that doesn't quite work yet. That's the best way to put it. Do you guys have much discussion on the topic of gameplay ethos versus endgame? As in, will the point of Last Epoch be to progress of getting gear and getting to 100, or will it become more 100/best in slot focused, or at least have pinnacle content that requires 100 best in slot ish gear? A lot of the talk is that multiplayer trade will really take away from the process of getting to the end game, and that playtime replayability will be drastically reduced. Okay, so I mean, those are all concerns we have and things we're trying to avoid with the system. I think suggestions like that make a lot of assumptions
Stand down.
as to the nature of the systems we're implementing that haven't been implemented yet. I think there's like, it's definitely stuff we're concerned about. Is we would like, we're not building a game. Okay, how do I put this? There's the let's use a completely different genre. There's WoW, where the game starts at max level. Most people would consider there to be two different games in WoW. There's the leveling game, which lots of people really enjoy and have a ton of fun with, but I would say most people probably consider WoW to start for a character once you hit max level. Everything that happens before that's kind of pointless. The worst gear you can find, and it's been a while since I played WoW, so this rule might not quite hold up, but the worst gear you find below max level in WoW, the best gear you find below max level is way, way, way worse than the worst gear you find at max level. It's just the fact of being a max level piece of gear suddenly spikes its power crazy. And that works really well for an MMO. It's not the style we're going for. So I would say most characters will never hit level 100. The vast majority of characters will never hit level 100. I think most people will find themselves finding themselves gated for the hardest content in the game, whatever that ends up being. The gate for that, I think most people will find, is gear, not level. So, and the concept of best in slot gear as well, I think is there's a difficult distinction on what's a different piece of gear. Like, is this unique? A different, like with 1 LP as it is, a different piece of gear than the same unique with 2 LP. You know, is it still best in slot? Is this a best in slot piece, or does it have to have a minimum number of LP to become the best in slot piece version of itself, type thing? So there's a weird question there that's specific to our systems. I think that there should be a lot of content that is, and it also scales with because the build variety, I think, is a lot higher in a game like this as it is to a game like WoW, where you mostly see the game starting at level 100, and where best in slot gear is often required to do a lot of content, or very close to best in slot gear required to do a lot of content. I think that you'll start to see more. I guess the build quality multiplied by gear quality is going to be have some sort of minimum threshold. So there'll be certain builds that are more powerful than others and be less gear dependent than others. And I think that's just natural with the amount of build variety we have. And some builds probably won't be able to do super end-game content without best in slot gear, just because the build's a little out there, putting it nicely, for some builds type thing. So like, builds that really try and break the mold will potentially have a tougher time with this. And I'm sure there'll be lots of builds that break the mold that people find that are really strong, but on average, I think builds that try and break the mold will have less success than builds that try and follow a more obvious path. I'm trying to say this carefully, because I don't want to say that like out there builds are something we're trying to discourage, because it's not. We love it when people make out there builds. I just think naturally when you have a lot of, for example, let's say armor support, two-hand support, like fire damage support on a class, and then you try and go and do a poison build with a throwing poison build when there's no throwing poison support on the class, it's generally going to be less successful unless there's some special thing you found, some special interaction. And that's where unique items come into play and are very very interesting and really good at enabling these sort of off the wall builds. I kind of got off track here. What was the original question? Let's go back to this. Focus on being more 100, like level 100 best in slot gear. I think that's not the focus. I don't think we're looking at primary expectations of people to have level 100 and best in slot gear in all their characters. I think there will be people that do get there, and that's great. That's a weird mace. That's a weird mace. Yeah, so I think there will be people that get there to that like level 100 best in slot on characters. That will happen. But I think it's the exception, not the rule. I hope that answers your question. Hey, cheers. As a gamer and not as a dev, what are your top 2 things you want added to Last Epoch? Just curious. Weapon swap. I want weapon swap. I don't know what the other thing would be. I was gonna ask the top one thing. That's why I have a snap answer for that. For the record, it's not coming. The thing I want, I know it's not coming. Sadly. I'm not sure what the other thing would be. Love that. I'd love to see. I mean, I'd love to see some like, and we're not doing this either. Like some giant red shell MTX to replace shield throw. Yeah. Yeah, 10 points to anyone that can figure out what that references to. It'd have to have like little tiny wings. So disproportionately small, tiny little white wings on the side of a giant red shell as a replacement for shield throw. And if anyone can tell me what that's a reference to, I'll put a spoiler up on the screen. Even though I feel like you can just Google it at this point. But it's a specific game. You have to give me the name of the item from the game. Alright, can you give us a spoiler on something the Rune Master is going to be capable of? I'm sorry, I'm not going to say no. I'd love to. I'm going to wait till we've got things more stabilized with that. And we're more, so it's a little more set in stone. It's still, Rune Master's still in the theoretical stage. Nothing's actually implemented yet. Oh, I see. You thought your PC was broken. That's the time zone thing. What's the strongest build in game right now? I have no idea. Sorry. Lizard, Parry, Epoch builds, Heavy, Llama. Those guys. I'm sorry if I missed anyone's name there that would probably go in that category. I'm sure all those guys would be able to tell you way better than I could. VK Autobomber is Jarring Orb. Void Knight Autobomber is very strong, consistently strong. Alright. I don't think it's the best. Any plans to expand the loot filter options, like open affixes and not these affixes? There is. Not specifically on those specific options necessarily, but yeah, there are intentions to expand the loot filter. Yes. Can you show all of your resist stat screen? I just got the game on my first character level 78. Want to see how they compare to mine? Yes. However, oh, it's not terrible. I thought it was gonna be way worse. I was about to put up like a little disclaimer of how terrible I was doing. My stun avoidance is low. I should have more stun avoidance. My armor's a little low. I should probably have more armor too. I'm pretty happy with my stats though than that. Nothing a minion. Go through my build real quick if you want. Volatile reversal, lunge. I'm going quick. Take screenshots, pause it, clip it, pause it. You want to see what's going on? Sigils of Hope. I am following a build guide from someone. How do I post that? Let's find that. Oh, I don't even have it bookmarked. I followed a build guide to get this set up in the first place and have no idea what to do from here. No, I followed. There's a video on Perry the Pig's YouTube channel that it's probably about a month old now or so. It's got 13 fun builds to play in Last Epoch or something like that. They're not necessarily the most powerful, but they are a lot of fun. And he had links in his video description to a bunch of build guides, and I'm following one of those right now. All right. Hi, long-time Last Epoch player. Just installed Last Epoch for the first time, and it seems like there's no fishing. Please clarify. Is this an oversight from the dev team? I mean, fishing is so, like, 2003, right? Come on. If we're gonna be like modern animal cultivation system, I feel like we need to address modern problems with these. And the current population of bees in the world is dwindling at a rate that's not sustainable. So bee cultivation farming is much more important than fishing, I think. So if we were going to do anything like that, I think that would be a much more responsible choice. And I'm really hoping someone knows what game it is so I can show that spoiler right now. Serious answer though. We like secondary in-game activities like fishing and stuff like that is something we'd love to add. And I would be surprised if nothing gets added like it down the road. But for now, it's just out of scope for base launch, unfortunately. This is a cool item. I'll talk about that in a second. Master Sword asks, I'm curious, how does the devs view the Forge Guard Master going forward? Do you feel the Forge Guard identifies primarily as melee throwing or minion class mastery? Great. Yeah, thanks for having patience with me and my Forge Guard increase. I think it's a really interesting class. So, I think there's... What am I doing here? I'm going to sort this. We're going to come in here. We're going to look at the it's an interesting thing, because there's throwing... Minion, melee, like, there's only one throwing skill here, but like, I mean, there's another throwing skill right here, like that has a lot of synergies with Forge Guard, and yeah, so it's a little bit of a where does it belong mastery. I think that's a fair question. And I clicked on the wrong one. I'm like, that doesn't look right. I think primarily the focus is melee, and I think a lot of the things we try and build into the throwing and minion playstyles that go along with it incorporate some melee elements to it. So like a lot of the like Forge Strike, I think encapsulates this perfectly actually, because it is primarily a melee attack, but it generates minions as well as a secondary effect. And then Manifest Armor, yes, it's a minion class, but you can have it scale directly off of your ability to do melee damage. And so there's these things we try and incorporate from when we're dealing with other things to help you fight, throwing attacks, melee minion attacks. We're trying to incorporate that back into your gear, and that's actually the true theme of Forge Guard is gear. It's supposed to try and focus around your equipment, and that's sort of the core theming of Forge Guard. And then back to this, which is a cool item. Someone actually asked this in the Discord recently, and it's been around for a long time. But this item was actually added as a result of us adding unique gear to like class-specific gear. So Exsanguinous, I have one. Probably probably somewhere. Here we are. Sanguinus was added as a backer unique. One of the first ones actually ever got put in the game, which is why it has special VFX that goes with it, because we thought that would be sustainable initially. So Sanguinus was added as a supporter unique, and then we added in class-specific helm chest relic slots, and they did not want it to become a class-specific unique, but we still wanted to give Acolyte a quick and easy route into the low life build archetype. So Shroud of Obscurity is the little brother, little sibling of Exsanguinus, specifically designed to be a little bit weaker, a little bit harder to get, a little bit easier to get, sorry, and specific to Acolyte. Fun facts. We're just gonna drop them on the ground because we don't need them. Same with this. Same with this. It's all just going on the ground because I'm terrible. Just the worst. Mike, how could you? All right, moving on. Soul Collector, please be nice about other games in chat. Or just don't say anything about them if you don't want to. Be nice. As someone who hasn't caught up on LE for about a year and an active PoE player since beta, what would you recommend class build archetype to get a feel for what Last Epoch is wanting to be? Sorry if it doesn't make sense. No, I understand that fully. It's a really tough question to answer because people play PoE so differently in some cases, so it's hard to tell what you like and what you find fun. My advice on this is kind of going to be a lack of advice, which I think is actually very intentional. So, what I would suggest is go to the character select screen and pick the character you think looks the most fun. Just like the style that you think, hey, that looks cool. And then as you're playing, just try out as many skills as you can. Don't be afraid to respec your skills as you're leveling. They'll catch up. Don't worry. I know it seems like it's really punishing. It's really not. Believe me on this one. Just like experiment, try stuff out, see what you like, see what's fun. Go for that build. Chances of you getting stuck is extremely low. And I guess this ties back into what I was saying a little earlier about generally appropriate seeming things working out better than off the wall builds for the most part. So like try to if you pick a sentinel, try to pick something like that fits in with general sentinel themes. Like physical damage, throwing damage, going a pure minion build right out of the gate on a Void Knight is probably not going to work because there's no minion skills in Void Knight, you know? Like, just don't go too crazy. Try and pick something that seems thematically appropriate to the class you're playing, and you'll be fine. And you'll probably have more fun than trying to follow a specific build, because you're able to experiment and just learn what's available by experiencing it. It's pretty forgiving, is what I'm getting at. And you can always transition the build into another build later on. And there's competitive builds for every single mastery class, so it's you won't be stuck no matter what you choose. Oh, there's a bug. Is the trail going up into the sky? Nailed it. It's funny. Funny hammer. Ooh, that could be interesting right there. Looky what we found. Been looking for a weapon to go into our to tack on to our 1LP spear. The shock's not great. It's not bad. Might do that. Might do that one. Are there any plans on incentivizing the arena more? At the moment, I feel XP is a bragging rights the only reason to push arena. Yeah, it's also just something that people like to do. It's not a game mode that we want to. I think if between the two of Monolith and Arena, if one of them had to be more efficient and like to play, if you were just going to like ignore how fun anything is to play and just be like, what's the most efficient way to play for gearing? Having that be Monolith over Arena is where we'd like that to. If one of them has to be better, Monolith's gonna be better. Ideally, we make everything as evenly as possible to get gear from, but the only way to really do that is to make gear drip fed on a time-based system instead of an actual gameplay-based system, and that's just terrible. And I swear that wasn't a shot at a specific game. Are all endgame systems going to be uncapped? No. I don't like that the best content you can be doing should be so hard, aka the hardest content you can do. No. As an avid ARPG fan, but someone who hasn't caught up on LE for over a year, what would you recommend a class build archetype to get a feel for LE? I think it's maybe the same. It was same. If I haven't answered your question yet, I apologize. I'm a little bit behind, I think. So of the 3 unfinished masters, which one is the farthest along in development, Falconer, Warlock, or Runemaster? Runemaster is the furthest along, and I know I just said that there's literally nothing implemented with it. Yeah, nothing is implemented for any of the 3 missing masters yet at all. Yeah. Runemaster's like 5% done, and the other 2 are 0.1% done. Real early. Real early. Alright. Have your team had any thoughts on any DLC classes you would like to add in the future? Or any you think would be cool? Yeah, absolutely. So we don't call it DLC really because it's just going to be the game updating. It'll be just a new version of the game. But yes, we have several new mastery classes that we plan to add to the game. Several new base classes that we've ideated a little bit on that we've said, hey, that would be cool. I can't tell you what those would be possibly because I mean it's a long ways off. It'll be post 1.0 big time. And I would say if you've got an idea of something that you might like to see in that category, chances are we've thought about it and it's been on the list for a few years. The list of potential mastery classes and potential base classes that we've thought about adding is pretty exhaustive to what I've seen in fantasy games in general, not just video games. Everywhere. So yeah, there's a lot of things we've talked about and considered. Woohoo! And I think you can look at the clear gaps in some of the archetypes that just aren't there at all to see. Oh yeah, this item's so cool. This is the one that I've been using. I actually found a 2 LP version of this on my online character that I was playing Cinder Strike build that wasn't using this, and I found a 2 LP version and I switched to using this, and we've almost got the Temporal Sanctum dungeon implemented in multiplayer. And as soon as it's in, oh, I'm making it legendary. Prepped. I've got a relic, exalted relic ready and everything. All right. Yeah, the classes you can see like there's clear gaps. Look to the gaps that you're like, well, why isn't this in the game? Oh, maybe we were waiting to add it down the road. You know. Are there any plans for future MTX for different Druid forms, or it's not possible? It is possible. We definitely got ideas. It's a big one. That's a very labor-intensive MTX bundle. It would it's something we'd love to do. We don't have any that are set up for our initial drop of MTX. I can tell you that for sure. There won't be any of those showing up in the first batch. Things like recolors are easier to do, but like a whole new whole new form, a whole new model, animations, all that stuff. That's a huge ask, and probably won't. I don't want to say I don't want to give timelines on it, but I that would be a long ways down the road type thing to show up probably. Like it would in order to be cost effective to make something like that compared to like a weapon that's on fire. It would have to be pretty expensive by comparison to make up for that, the time sink for it. So until we have more things in there, I think it'll be a little bit of a delayed feature. All right. Hi, long-term alcohol user here. Cool. If a train from Boston, Massachusetts departs at 1400 hours with a speed of 100 kilometers an hour, and a train from Phoenix, Arizona departs at 1430, what speed? With a speed of 120 kilometers per hour. Will you add more mana recovery means? Probably not. But I mean, what are the chances that those two trains would depart at the exact same time at those exact speeds? Because they'd probably start at a slower speed and then build up to it. And so like, will you add more mana recovery means is the question. It's probably not the question you want to ask. The question you probably want to ask is, will you add more mana recovery means that I can stack with current mana recovery means to increase my overall mana recovery potential maximum? And the answer to that question is probably not, or not in a meaningful way. But the answer to the question you asked was yeah. But I don't think the question you asked was what you were trying to ask. And I'm only giving you a hard time about it because it was so convoluted. And I don't want to stop this to read the next question. Are you going to add any new modes, and will Masochist be changed in any way? Adding new game modes like softcore, hardcore, Masochist, that sort of stuff, would be nice to do. Will he still hurt you? I don't know. We'll never know. This one. Thank you. Gimme. We have a unique drop rate increase. Increased experience. That's pretty sweet. So one thing to note here is, see, this says Winds of Fortune because this is a standard blessing. When you complete an empowered monolith, you get grand blessings. So the lowest that they can roll on the grand blessings. So the basic version of this one would roll up to 15%, and this one starts at 16% going up. So they're always better for the grand ones, even a poorly rolled one compared to a perfectly rolled one. But I think we're just gonna go for experience because I want to get that experience up. When you add more new game modes, will Masochist mode change in any way? I'm not 100% sure on what's going to happen with Masochist. It's still a little up in the air. I think the goal is to keep it as is, but who knows? It's new game modes that could potentially add new ladder splits is a tricky thing to incorporate well. And we're still working the best way to do that if we do it at all. Because a lot of the time when you add a new game mode, it's not actually that hard to do. But adding support for it in secondary systems like ladders, it creates a bit of a problem. Once again, it's that multiplicative effect. Okay, will there be multiplayer? Yes. Any way to one-hand a two-handed shield? If not, any plans to have it in the game? One hand, a two-hand, and a shield. Sorry. No, we don't have any plans for that at the moment. That doesn't mean it will never happen, but currently that's not something we're planning. I think if it did happen, there's a lot of things that are built into the game right now that assume that can never happen, and it would require a surprising amount of revamping of stuff to actually make that work. Both from a mechanical point and a design perspective as well. So there's no plans right now. It's possible. Who knows? Those shards. Yes, please. Don't forget to put at Last Epoch game in your question, or else I probably won't answer it. Last Epoch ever coming to console? Hopefully, that's our goal. We definitely won't be. We haven't done any work on it. We don't have a dev kit. We don't have a relationship with Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, any console creators. We don't have a relationship that we're fostering yet with any of them. Where it's on our radar, something we'd like to do, but we know it's not something that we are planning to do for 1.0 launch, and we're focused on that right now. So once we're launched, it's something we'll look at doing, but we haven't started on it. So someday, hopefully. I know you guys have a wish list of good things to put in game. Are there major things in other games you specifically do not ever want to put in? Yes. I don't really want to go into that too much. It's not. No. I don't know how to explain that. There's things. Yes, there are things that we explicitly don't want to ever put in, and sometimes those show up in other games. Yes. Okay, here's an example of something. On the fly, multiple loadout switching. So being able to completely switch all of your like equipment, passives, active skills, all those things, being able to just bounce between loadout to loadout to loadout on the fly. It's in Diablo 3. We don't plan on it in Last Epoch. Will there be multiplayer? Yes. Will the impending flat melee damage update include updates to explicit affixes on uniques? Eye of Reen, for example, has added melee fire damage explicit. It can. I don't think it affects that one specifically. I could be wrong on that. It's one of those things where every single unique we're looking at individual basis, whether or not we think it's worthwhile. If the damage type is there specific to synergize with part of the another part of the unique, but doesn't specifically synergize with another piece of, but it's not specifically relating to a certain skill that already has a damage type associated with it, then it'll probably stay, I think is what it is. It's a unique by unique basis. Do you happen to play Destiny 2? I don't. I've never played Destiny 2 at all. So I'm sorry, I can't answer that one. I know there are lots of people on our team that do, and I'm sure lots would have interesting stuff on it, but sorry, I don't have anything. Reimer's like typing in Discord to me over here, and I'm like, he's gonna finish typing one of these days, but I don't know what it is. I'm like really concerned, like I said something wrong. Oh, never mind. He's just confirming what I was saying about Irene. Irene still has fire damage, but the implicit on Irene will change. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. No mistakes. Hi, short time interim in writing departments of the new House of the Dragon show here. Oh, you were a writer on House of the Dragon? That's cool. My wife and I have been watching it very intently. We are currently running out of ideas. Wait, I can't tell if this is a joke or not. We're currently running out of ideas for the next season, and our current ones are less than kind. So you were hoping to borrow some lore from this game? Would you be amenable to that? Also, lending your writers? Thanks, much appreciated. I think that was a joke. But I mean, you can contact support and they'll get you in touch with the right person. Any plans for dual wielding shields? I'd love to. There's a few things that assume you can't do that right now. Oh my god, I'd love to. That's one of those things. Maybe all these like weird like dig two-hander with a shield, dual wielding shields, a two-handed shield, all those things. Yeah, they're cool stuff. We'd love to do it. I one day maybe. Yeah, I don't count any of those things out, but don't expect them for 1.0. Most echoes have a lot of dead ends and are long-winded corridors, so there are plans to address this. So most of them are actually static maps. They're not generated, so there's no like generation algorithm to change for that. The dungeons is usually what this comment is in reference to, so I'm surprised there. So with regards to the Monolith, I mean, we're always like updating Monolith maps and adding more and trying to improve them. So yes, but not specifically. I'm not sure how to answer it. Sorry. Do you have any principles in place to either stem feature creep or improve tutorialization as more and more cycles passes? Yeah, I think that the type of content that goes into cycles will probably change as time goes on with those cycles, to be more friendly to that type of issue. Like as we're at launch when we start cycles, there's going to be this pretty big. I'd say there's going to be this time period where we're still trying to get more content into the game, because there's yes, there's a concern about content bloat in 10 years from now, but no one has that concern right now at all. If anything, the exact opposite. Everyone wants more content because there's still not enough stuff to do, which we totally understand. So the strategy for cycles, at least initially, is get stuff in, make it stuff that we can keep in the game long term, and like expands the activities that are possible, and then also designing those systems to have really good ways to implement cycles relating to them in the future that don't cause a large feature creep expansion on so they don't add a lot of depth. Sorry, they don't add a lot of complexity without adding depth. That's what I'm getting at. That's pretty nice. If I buy a supporter pack that allows unique creation, can I hold on to it, or does it have to be used in a certain amount of time? Right now, that's closed, I think. So, unfortunately, I don't think you can buy one at the moment, sadly, because we're still catching up on the large backlog. It was much more popular than we expected, and we got to do a little catch up there. But we are, so right now we're trying to get as many of them done as we can. We do have some people who have requested not to do it until launch. That's totally fine, and we're respecting that, and we're holding on to them until launch. That's no problem. And I mean, if you wanted to wait even longer after that, I don't see a problem with it. There'd probably be some point where we'd go, okay, like time's running out. You kind of got to get on this. But no, it's not some like buy it, next day you get a phone call, okay, you have 10 seconds to get your idea in or you're bust. No. What did we drop down over here? Oh, it's a cool item. Makes you stronger when you're high health and helps you get back up to high health when you're low health. I like it. If LE did come out on console, what would you guys make players Oh, that's loud. If Ellie did come out on console, would you guys make players PC MTX shared to console? Oh, I see what you're saying. I can't answer that question right now, because I just have no idea. There might be some technical limitations there. I think if I was gonna say a likely goal in that scenario would be to make everything cross-platform compatible that we could. Whether that goal will be possible or not, I don't know. But I think the goal would be to be able to share that MTX if possible. I just want to stress that I have no idea if that's possible or not. All right. Thank you, Sullen, for the sub. Much appreciated. Glad to have you here. Hope you're having fun. Maybe learning something new. Because there's not much else to do. All right. Next question. Did anyone figure out the reference I was talking about? The shell with the tiny wings, big red shell, tiny wings. It's a weapon from a beloved RPG, JRPG. Was the first collaboration? Ooh, was one of the first collaborations that I know of between two juggernauts of the gaming industry. Spawned an entire franchise of games with the most popular video game character ever. Was the possibly first time you could play as the main character's traditional prime villain. Anton8! Thank you very much for the sub. Welcome, welcome. Glad you're here. Glad you're having fun. Hanging out, relaxing. We don't have a pool, so you can't hang out outside it. Alright. Would you guys please make the Biden's damage conversion apply to Serpent Strike and Javelin so I can get Electrify Primalist to work? Okay, real question. Will you have dual class uniques? Greek and thanks, dual class uniques. So, like, uniques that are only wieldable by two classes simultaneously. We do have the capability for that. I think so far we've intentionally steered away from it. But we do have the functionality for that. So maybe. Ow. Those are nice boots. Not my favorite base for a boot, but boot base means less and less than most other slots. Are the developers happy with how easy difficult it is to reach max level in Last Epoch? No. Well, content, happy overall, yes. Gonna change it, also yes. I think it'll be the stretching the 95 to 100 range is likely going to happen. And not hugely so, but it's a little too easy to get a level 100 character at the moment. The amount of power you get in those last 5 levels is almost completely insignificant. You're usually getting filler passives. You're usually there's not much you're getting out of it. There's no new items that become able to be used due to level requirements. There's not a lot happening there. It's mostly a bragging rights thing to get hitting that level 100 mark. We're not looking for a Diablo 2 leveling curve. That's a little too extreme. But definitely harder than it is now. And specifically looking at stretching the tail of that, not the whole thing. I don't know if I just like missed if I'm like that far behind on the questions, or if so close. You got the name wrong. Ew, for so close. You've got the right game, but it's the wrong item. Hi, first year math students, short time, Last Epoch enjoyer here. Glad to have you here. Fun fact, computer science degrees are math degrees in disguise, so. Probably know all the classes you're taking I've probably taken. So have fun with those. Another Last Epoch question for you. I'm trying to prove that the... Oh, okay, yeah. I do not know the answer to this question off the top of my head. Yeah, I shouldn't have bragged about taking the same classes until I read the whole question. The problem statement suggests using binomial theorem, but I'm at a loss on how to apply it. Anyways, will there be another gold sinks than gambling? Thanks. Yes, there is, and there already is another gold sink other than gambling, which is the Vaults of Uncertain Fate, which is I think we'd like more than that as well. So adding more on top of that one is the plan, is the goal. But yeah, we already have more than just gambling. Gambling's I wouldn't really even consider one because it's more of a leveling tool than an endgame gear acquisition tool. Because the gear you get out of gambling, gold gambling, is not very good. Because it has it has lower chances for things to be good on it. Like it has less forging potential that comes with something else too. Maybe it's just forging potential. Did I just like go the wrong way completely? Let's just check. Let's make sure. I should know this. We're gonna go the other way. Any boxes to jump to? Alrighty then. It's not a Koopa Shell. It is Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. It's not Heavy Troopa Shell, no. I don't know what JRPG. The JRPG is Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. It was released for the Super Nintendo actually after the N64 had already come out. And spawned the game franchise Paper Mario, where you could play Bowser, Peach as part of your team. It's part of your party. Introduced new characters to the franchise, such as Mallow and Geno, or Geno, depending on how you pronounce it. And it was a sheer masterpiece. The item I'm referring to is not Heavy Troopa Shell. Is it intentional that the character sometimes goes left after completing an echo? No, but it is known why it happens. It's basically the entry point to the portal is listed as the last known movement position when you go through the portal. And so you're always, and it's always to the left of where the Echo World spawns. So your character tries to just move to the nearest point that on the island that intersects with that movement point where the zone was. So it always goes left. I'm sure it'll be fixed. It's a bug. Will you add a search bar for echoes, especially when re-rolling rewards? It's quite the task to look over all of them. We actually intentionally don't have that at the moment, but it is possible that we could add something like that. Best to put requests like that on the forums. I'll say this, it's not a new request. That is a frequently asked thing. Physics degree are also math degrees. Yes, it's true. But the semester in a nuclear lab, yeah. I actually started going for a physics degree and then was like, wait a minute, I love these programming classes. Lazy Shell. There we are. Eterra, way to go. Here we are. Here is a little teaser of some content that's being added in next patch. Just little tease of stuff that's happening. Don't know what happened there. Yeah. Cool. All right. Hi, Shift Barber at Rogue Razor Barbershop here. No questions regarding LE. Just letting you know that we offer 95% discount if you ever visit one of our shops and a complete shave off. Thanks. Yeah. Nuh-uh. Do you guys ever add a profile viewer on your website that lets you view people's characters? That's an interesting feature request that we have got a fair few times and considered. We'd love to have something like that in place. It's not a 1.0 goal for us at the moment. Spiky bees, yeah, spiky bees. Oh my gosh, I caught up. Yes.
Stand down or die.
That's right. I caught up. Don't forget to put at Last Epoch Game in a question if you want me to answer. I see this one. When is multiplayer supposed to come for us to play with? I know this has been asked, but I only joined now. We don't have a set date for it. I see in your follow-up question that you thought it was supposed to be early September. That was never announced and was unfortunately propagated as misinformation by many people. But it was never said that multiplayer would be coming early September. I actually really explicitly said that was not the case so many dozen times. But I didn't find all the times it was said. I was like lurking social media and like forums and everything, trying to correct everything I could find of that for quite a while there. Yeah, it's work in progress. We've got our community tester program up and running. That's going fantastic. There's still a lot to implement though. There's still a lot of stuff that's like, if we opened it up now, the response would overwhelmingly be, "Oh my god, what are you doing? Why did you turn it on right now? This is not even anywhere near complete." So there's still stuff like you can't create legendary items yet. You can't. None of the dungeons are playable fully. I don't even think the arena. Oh, the arena probably works. That was one of the first things we put in actually. Empowered monoliths work. Yeah. And if you do get into the community tester program to do that, please don't expect a polished, finished product. There's a lot. There's a lot still needs polishing. But the important stuff is really the important stuff that we've been working on and focusing on, things like transition times and stability. You see the term matchmaking a lot in our updates, and what that actually is referring to is the game server's abilities to place you in the correct zone, the correct instance of the zone with the right people on the fly quickly. So being able to say like, okay, you've gone to this new zone, go find the server out there that has the rest of your party in it, and put you in that same server properly. And that's a huge portion of getting multiplayer to work smoothly. And it's actually going really well, which is great. You farming for anything specific? No, I'm just trying to complete all the monoliths. I don't have, because I'm a terrible, terrible cheater, I don't have, that's what I get. I don't have any blessings for 2 of them still, so I'm just trying to finish up blessings, basically. Glad I could catch one of your dev streams. Glad to have you here. Slam Sauce! Loving your game. Quick question. Are you planning on changing hitboxes? Hammer throw often goes through spiders and such. Certain enemies not being able to take damage, but while certain animations like the rat's mid-jump. Yes, this has been addressed and is fixed for next patch. We've implemented a new system for throwing abilities where they have 2 colliders, one for terrain collision detection and one for enemy collision detection. And so they do better in tighter areas. So they exist a little bit nicer. It still will, like if it throws directly into a wall, it'll still explode, but it's a little friendlier that way. And it's got a little bigger hitbox, so it hits things like smaller animals. It hits easier. And then on top of that, with regards to the mid jump question, we had a problem that required us to make things immune while jumping.
Stand down.
And we fixed that problem for the most part. We didn't fix that problem, but we found a workaround to it by making it so things can take damage while jumping, and their health can go to 0 while jumping, but they can't die until they land. So they'll like die in midair, but they'll still finish the jump, and then they'll drop gear once they land. So you can kill stuff in midair now. Well, you will be able to next patch. I'm sure this has been asked before, but I have not seen it answered personally. When could we expect trading to come? Sometime after 1.0. There will be a method by which items can be transferred between 2 players in 0.9 when that comes out. If I despecialize a skill, will I get the same XP bonus that removing a point does? Yep. So the way it works is the amount of XP bonus. Like there's basically a big table that says, okay, when a skill is at this level and your character level is this level, what's the experience gain rate of that ability? And so like as your character level goes up, so like a level 10 character with a level 5 ability will level up. Well, that ability will level up slower than a level 50 character with a level 5 ability. At level 50, that ability levels up faster because you're higher level, so it catches up to your expected ability level faster. I don't have that table on me, I'm sorry. Okay, that's pretty sweet. Hope I didn't miss anything, but I probably did. Hi, a philosophy minor and coincidentally Amazon warehouse employee. I feel like you don't have all of these jobs and or school enrollment titles that you might be saying might be a little bit misleading. Just I'm sorry if that's offensive, but I'm speculating. Ooh, I love exaltants that only have a single affix. Oh, I love it when that happens. It's a good affix too. That's cool. It's a cool item. Let's get to the question here. What is the point of RPG games? They're a lot of fun. I don't know. To enjoy yourself. You just aimlessly run over and over tiles that's killing the same monsters in order to get the same loot to make your characters run the same tiles that's faster and get more loot to kill faster. This is reminding me of a real life job, except I am a monster to be slain in it, not a player. Yeah, I think the I don't know if this is if you're actually asking serious questions or joking here at this point, but I'll answer it like it's a real question. I think it's different for everyone, and I think that's something that's really cool about games in general is that they don't necessarily have to have a specific point to be fun, to be enjoyable, and I think what we try and do is create an environment for people to create their own fun experiences in, and less about trying to create the experience ourselves, but yeah, creating the tools to give people to make their own experiences that are fun. And a lot of times that simply just comes from like intention and resolution. So having a goal and seeing if you're able to complete it or not, and then whether or not you're successful. A lot of that's self-created, but yeah, it's a lot of fun, I think. That's what I'm here for.
Stand down or die.
I love those moments when you're like, I can't really play hardcore in these games very much anymore just because of the time, but like, you just, like when you just barely don't die, you survive and you finish the boss fight you've been trying to do for a while. Those moments are really cool. I think it's a lot of fun. The accomplishment, the achievements, overcoming a challenge. Alright, I'm new to the game and wondering if a full Thorns build is viable at endgame. I define viable, and probably not very great. If so, what classes should it be for? I think the best one right now is Druid. I think. But it's probably doable in Sentinel as well. Somewhere. But it's iffy at best. Go ask one of the big streamers, or go ask in our Discord. Someone will be able to help you out a little bit better. Is it a known issue? Probably. That the alignment node in the Paladin tree goes up, gets used up instantly when you have Holy Aura equipped, even though it does not heal. Probably. I don't have a full list of the nodes. It's probably just says like on using a healing ability, and it has some healing tag on it that's causing it to trigger. What's the captain's ring for? Been holding on to it just in case. It's a bit of a tutorialization moment, because that one has, I think, stun avoidance on it. I think that's what it has. Can't remember exactly, but it's designed as like a, hey, this stat exists and it's something you might want to pay attention to type tutorialization moment. Is because kind of what that's trying to imply. But yes, if you don't know, it's an item that can only be found at a very specific point early on in the campaign. I hang potatoes from people's garages and my wife aligns the chakras of number 2 pencils. We're in the market for a $2 million home. What's your favorite ARPG experience? These are just great. Is this some trend that I'm just like oblivious to? Because I love it. What's my favorite ARPG? Like, other games? I like coming from other. I think if you're talking about other games specifically, it's Diablo 2 is my. It's my once and future love. And yeah, it's wonderful. Specific experience, the first time I killed Ubers in Diablo 2. I remember it very clearly. Because I had failed to prepare properly the first time and ended up having to ditch the run. So I'd spent all this time getting the keys, and Lilith is a pain. And I'd like spent so long trying to get Lilith farmed. And I was young enough that I wasn't really, I don't know why I didn't consider it at the time, but like I would open like multiples. I would open like one portal in each game, trying to get the right portal next. Like, so I'd get 3 keys, open a portal, and try and do it. Get 3 keys, open a portal, and try and do it. So I wasted so many keys. I ended up with like 3 horns, and like it was bad. Anyways, remember finally downing it, and it was right after I got a Kira's guardianship, and like that was enough to put me over the edge to actually finish it, because I didn't understand at the time that conviction was ruining my resistances as much as it was, and I needed to that cures was enough to bump it up high enough. It was a long time ago. Alright. D2 is my once and future love. Your wife knows and is happy with that. I can love more than one thing at a time. I can love Diablo 2 and my wife, right? Right? I saw a post on Reddit the other day. It was like, it was about knowing the difference between like different cities in the world, and only people who play 4X games a lot know about this, and like the spouse of anyone who plays or knows this difference knows they have to share you with every Civ and Civ clone there is. That's the other type of game that gets me. 4X games. Whew. Oh, Tyrion, you got auto-modded. That's a long one, too. It's fine. Okay. Hi, Lagon, God of the Sea here. I'm tired of Friday bullying me, as well as people of the genders fetishizing my limbs. In addition, a countless number of travelers have come to my hideout, received some sort of blessing. I tickle them a little. If they survive, I tell them to off. In my local dialect. Could you please add more substance to my experience? Thank you. Yeah, Lagon's a tricky one, and there's lots more to come there. Oh, that's not terrible. Interesting, yeah. Well, I don't know why I took so long to show any of these, but here we go. Here's another little like another B teaser. What's your favorite 4X and why is it not, I don't know, SMAC or Cult of Power 1? Oh, Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, that's what it is. Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, like, there's so many great and terrible things about that game. Civ 2 was my entry into 4X games. And so, yeah, Alpha Centauri is interesting, but I didn't have it when I was a kid. So that's why it's not my favorite. My favorite is, like, Civ 6 is my favorite still. There's a lot of really great things that a lot of other games do in the genre, and like Old World is so phenomenal. I wish there was a little bit more to it, like probably like more empires to play as, more scenario types to get into, that sort of stuff. But like, Old World's fantastic too. Civ 6 just has got everything, and like I don't know, you just get into so many mods. You're playing it for so long that like, yeah, you get it's a comfort game for me at this point. I don't play it very much anymore. Seven's probably in the works. Maybe this is already in the game, I have no idea, but have you guys thought of making a unique that turns all of your bees into queen bees, buffing them? Well, I mean, like, I don't think a hive can have multiple queens, right? So, like, I think that would cause problems. And I've always pictured the bee mechanics being something that you turn into, like, some sort of way to generate, I don't know, pheromones or however they communicate to become acting like the queen yourself. There we go. Despair. I'll take it. That's a good way to end up the stream. I've actually got one more little teaser too. I was looking for places to slip these in, and I just like didn't do a good job of it. Why is it tiny? Is it? Oh goodness. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, there it is. Little VFX update for Serpent Strike that is coming in. Is there audio playing with that? There's no audio playing. Well, that's frustrating. I'm sorry. It's got a great new sound effect too. And the animation scales with attack speed. Yeah, that's a big thing. Thanks, game. All right. We're done with time here. I'm just gonna round out with a couple last minute questions as we finish up. What do we got here? Someone else asked this, but got lost in chat. I want to know too. How many chapters do you plan to have for the campaign? I think there's 3 more chapters. It's either 2 or 3 more chapters more than what's there now. And that's some of that's coming post 1.0. How much for an MTX that turns my druid playing bees into a girl from the Blind Melon music video? I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. And we want to keep things in world. So in things that like could exist in the world already. Like we don't want to go too out of universe for things. Llama 3 more chapters? Yeah, I think that's right. All right. I think that'll just about do it for us today. I hope you had fun. I know I did. Thanks for sticking around, asking me questions, talking and stuff. We'll be back same time, same place next week. If you really want to ask more questions between now and then, I'm very happy to answer them. I do my best to keep up on Discord, our Ask the Devs channel, as much as possible. We also are pretty active on our forums, Reddit, lots of other great community members. There's lots of great other communities too. I've seen some other Discords and there's lots of streamers, lots of great places around, not just official stuff that have people hanging out, talking, discussing about Last Epoch stuff. And I encourage you to check out them all because they're wonderful people.